But while waiting on my brother Che Black, let me just address some of the things that some of the people was getting at us about in the comment section. Some of the arguments that some people was making for Canelo, and they had an issue with some of the things that James Tony said. We're just reporting what it what was said. We let the man talk, and we didn't necessarily. Shout out Baba Sekou. I see you in the chat, brother. Thank you for tuning in with us. We, he got on there. He said some things. He said Canelo. He thought Canelo was soft. He don't think Canelo could fight in his era, which that's his opinion. Which is why we ask the questions. We want to hear his opinion. And a lot of Canelo fans, let's say, at the very least, wasn't too happy with some of the things that James Tony had to say, nor to my quick jab that I did about the whole war of words between Turkey Al Sheikh and Canelo and Bud's response to the whole thing. So people's arguments is like, why does Canelo need to fight Terence Crawford? Terence Crawford just wants a payday. David Benavidez doesn't sell. He's not a big name. He doesn't sell any pay-per-views. And Ray. They give all these excuses as to why Canelo doesn't need to fight these guys. But yet, Berlanga, someone who hasn't beaten the champion at all, is getting a shot at Canelo, has never sold a pay-per-view. He gets a shot. Fighters like John Ryder. Jaime Munguia was probably an exception. That was a good fight, but wasn't nobody really calling for that fight either. But at least Jaime Munguia, I would say, just based off his resume, is somebody that was probably deserving of a fight with Canelo. That's just not the fight we wanted to see at the time. He's fought people like Amir Khan, Jamel Charlo, and these are not fights that we was calling for Jamel Charlo or one of the Charlo brothers to fight Canelo when he was down at 154 or 155 or Canelo week. So Canelo, all the excuses that people give for Canelo not to fight these guys, but yet they don't even understand how they shoot themselves in the foot, because why doesn't that apply to Edgar Berlanga? No disrespect to Edgar Berlanga. I like Edgar Berlanga. I think he's a decent fighter. I just don't think he's deserving of this fight. He hasn't beaten anybody. He's not a champion. He hasn't beaten any champions, any former champions. And he hasn't really been looking good in his past few fights. But he gets a fight with Canelo and nobody questions it. But the whole world wants to see him in with David Benavidez. Nobody really cares about an Edgar Berlanga fight. But yet, when it comes to David Benavidez, he hasn't sold any pay-per-views. Ray. But they don't make the same, but the same doesn't apply to Edgar Berlanga. I just don't understand. Like, I need some people to really clarify, why is it that certain things apply to certain fighters, but you ignore it when it comes to the other fighters or even the lesser competition that Canelo chooses to fight. I just think as boxing fans, we're doing a disservice to ourselves by not holding these fighters accountable when they say something. Now, if Canelo just came straight out and said, look, I don't want to fight him, I'm just looking to make my own fights because I'm just not interested in that fight. Okay, fine, he's not interested in it because maybe he's scared. Maybe he just doesn't want to fight him for whatever reason. But the reasons that he gives, Crawford is too small. But yet Amir Khan wasn't. Jamel Charlo wasn't too small. But Terence Crawford is too small. Like, make that make sense. Like, the reason that he's using, it goes against everything, all the decisions that he's made prior. I'm not gonna fight David Benavidez, or you're a horrible fighter. Like, who has he beat? Well, who has Edgar Berlanga beat? What about John Ryder? I keep bringing up John Ryder because nobody wanted to see that, man. I'm just saying, like, who did these guys beat? Now, I give Canelo all the credit. Let me just give him some credit for a lot of the great fighters that he has fought in his past. Like, I'm not gonna take nothing away from him, but at the same time, I'm not giving him credit, or should I say, I'm gonna give him the criticism when it's deserved, because David Benavidez deserved that fight. Even David Morrell, I would like him to fight, or Terence Crawford. And the reasoning that he doesn't want to fight these guys doesn't apply to the guys that he's choosing to fight. And it's just a contradiction that people just choosing to ignore for one reason or the other. And that's that, man. I think guys got at us real crazy in the chats. criticizing us.
That's better than that.
You know what I'm saying, about our opinions of Canelo, about James Tony's opinions of Canelo, and he don't need to fight this one. He don't need to fight that one, but he's
And
fighting Edgar Berlanga.
you were saying before about certain fighters and why certain things ignored with these fighters, and a lot of times it comes down to uh, money. The biggest politics in boxing is money. That's the politics, and a lot of times it comes down to having cash cows and not wanting those cash cows to either be exposed or feel like the risk reward isn't worth it, and so therefore it gets ignored. A lot of these fighters, they can. I don't personally think that it's a fear thing amongst fighters that they're scared of each other or they're scared of losing to a fighter. Sometimes they may in their heart know, this guy's going to be a problem or whatever. However, I think that there's a lot more politics that plays, and a lot of it has to do with money, and it has to do with if you can make damn near that much money fighting somebody with no name, why take the risk? Roy Jones, who's retired now, he gets away with constantly talking about fighters fighting the best. However, he was actually accused for years of taking the easy route and fighting hand-picked opponents and hiding behind ridiculous mandatories, with a lucrative HBO contract guaranteeing him $2 million a fight. And for years, he was actually criticized for not fighting certain fighters who was around or in his division. One of them being Darius Mikuchevsky. So it's more politics than fear to me, but it's been going on forever.
So, I mean, I know this is not a Canelo show, but I just had to address some of the things that people were saying.
Nah, but they're talking about it. We just did the interview. We put the clips out. The full interview is about to drop. And a lot of people are upset. Well, a lot of Canelo fans are upset, and that's okay. He said something that they didn't like about their man. That's cool. And they're getting on there to defend their guy. That's cool. That's fine with me. And they're showing, and a lot of them are showing their true colors. It's beyond just the sport. It's beyond just boxing. We had an episode about this, talking about the tribalism of boxing and how tribal it is. And this is just the perfect example that this is a tribe that's not feeling like their tribe was disrespected, or one of the heroes, or somebody that they have a lot of endearment, somebody that they endear highly. We disrespected, or James Tony disrespected, and we co-signed the disrespect somehow, and it's okay. This is what it's about.
Actually, now we're going to show you how to catch the jab. Actually, in boxing, it's called parrying.